darling, those are not goosebumps. Those are truth bombs. And when you hear a universal truth, that's how you will know. And I was like, okay.
And what did she say to you what did she say to you that got you to have those truth bumps?
I don't know. It was something spiritual though, because here I'm in my store. I've been told not to talk that. And now my customer's talking. And I'm like, yes, right on. I can talk this with her. And so, yeah, I don't have any idea. Roger, I'm not even sure she was really there. There was nobody else in the store. She said that to me. I'm like, and she turned around and floated out. I mean, floated in, she floated out. And I said out loud, I will never be shut down again. And that's when really it all started for me in 1990. And so things just started to open up. And when I got here to this...
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yeah.
So you had this stained glass studio, and then how did you go from that to your center that you had?
Well,
or your other business?
I had the stained glass studio.
What was that kind of like?
Well, I had the studio for 5 years, and I was meditating a lot. And in my meditation, I was told to close my stained glass studio, that I was moving from the visual arts to the healing arts, and that I would work with color and I would work with children. And so I closed my store like anybody would, because you're told to by spirit, right?
Yeah, because we always listen so intensively.
Anybody else would do that, wouldn't they? I mean,
yeah, perhaps.
And I went to, I had a house on the Lake Erie, and I thought, well, I've been in town long enough. People know who I am. They'll come ask me to do stained glass, put it in my basement, and nobody came. And I sat there for about 3 months. And sometimes I'd have 36 cents in my hand, and that's all I had. And I had 2 kids and a half a tank of gas or a quarter of a tank of gas. And I'd be thinking, well, okay. So I'd wake up and say, okay, Spirit, we got 36 cents. What are we going to do with that today? So I really got to experience some pretty amazing things. And then I would hear go into town, and I'm like, I can't go into town. I have a half a tank of gas and I got to go pick up the kids later. Go into town. And I'd go into town, park my car, and I'd walk down the street, and somebody would come to me and go, oh my gosh, Diane, I'm so glad to see you. I owe you $55 from a disc that I bought from you. So no, I think you paid me for that. No, I'm sure I didn't. They'd get their checkbook out and write me a check for $55.
Cool.
Who lives like this, really? Really, who lives like this?
Apparently you do.
Apparently I do. So so that's how it happened, Roger. And then one day I was told to go into town. Again, Spirit, like, how's this going to happen? So I go into town. I go to the grocery store. I think, okay, I'm supposed to be going to the grocery store to buy something. So I go in and I buy something. But instead of turning left to go home, I turn right. I literally had an out-of-body experience. I literally stepped outside of myself and was watching myself drive down the street towards my old shop and said, well, we're just going to see where we're going to go now. Let's just watch this. Let's just see what happens. So I pull up to my girlfriend's store. She was a really good friend of mine, had a bead shop called Wild Things. And I pulled up in front of her store. She had an old bicycle out front, and in it she had these, it was a metaphysical rag from Seattle called the New Times.
I remember that.
Right? Remember the New Times?
Yeah.
And I would read the New Times, but I would read it to see what was, who was doing what. I wasn't really interested too much in the articles as I was who was advertising. I'm a resource person, so I really wanted to know what was going on, what was available. And so I got out of the car, I walked over, and I thought, oh, good. I'm standing outside myself, and I'm thinking, oh, good. We're going to go see Lisa. I go over, pick up a magazine, and turn around and go back to the car. I'm thinking, but aren't we going to go see Lisa? It's like, no. I get in the car, I open up the magazine, and it says Esogetic Medicine, the new Esogetic Color Puncture, the new medicine of light. And I said, oh, that's what I'm going to do. It just came out. And after that, it was just bam, 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 bam. And it, and that's what happened. So that's how I got into the healing part of it, was to do that. And then, and then I stayed really into esogetics, which is energetics and esoterics. And it's term that's coined by Peter Mandel, the creator of esogetics. He's a scientist, naturopath, acupuncturist. He's got a lot of credentials behind him in Germany. But they had a foundation here, which was 2 women who taught. So that's how I learned. And pretty much went, a couple times a year, and I really poured myself into it. And I ended up having a practice with a chiropractor in Anacortes, Dr. Bentz, and fabulous man. And I had my practice there for almost 3 years, and it was really fabulous. So I enjoyed that. It was just too confining after 3 years. I needed to expand out. So I started studying some other things, and actually just started, I was told by a full body channel that I come from a couple of universes over from our universe, that is pure light, and that when we do any kind of balancing or work, we work with our hands, and that the color comes out in laser form of our hands. And that if I wanted to do that, all I had to do was ask to be activated. So that scared the heck out of me. It's like, I thought it was really cool. Well, see, that's the thing is, I really resisted that. I really, and I don't consider myself a fearful person, but that was boy, people think I'm weird now. Like, well, what's that going to look like? So I didn't really do anything. I did say to them, yeah, okay, activate me. Yeah, do it, kind of thing. And we were out hiking on 4th of July, and I was hiking with a woman who's very fit, she hikes all the time, right? And we're doing that new trail going down by Sharp Park. And we're getting down there, and all of a sudden she stops, and I'm like, where are you? And she's way back there, and I said, what's going on? She goes, my knee. I can't walk. My knee. And I said, what do you mean your knee? And she said, it's the weirdest thing. It's like my knee just went out, and I can't walk. So we're in the middle of the woods. And so I go back with her, and we walk very gently and quietly down to there's a big cliff there, and she can't go down to sit on the rocks. So she's just there, and I hear, ask her to help, ask her if you can help her. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to ask her if I can help her. I'm not doing that. No, you're going to do that. And so I said to her, can I work on your knee? And she said, yeah. And I was like, okay. And so I started putting my hands on her knee, and I started doing things I didn't even know I could do. And her knee was perfectly fine. So that really freaked me out. I shut that down right away. It's like, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
We do it all the time.
We really do. But I was like, oh, I'm not ready for this. And she said she'd never had a problem with her knee. She never had a problem after that. We know that it was just a way for spirit to let me know what
waking you up
I was capable of, right? So that has happened since I've been here. I've been doing more and more of that here in the desert. And the vortexes here are really amazing at opening you up, whether you want to be opened or not. You just can't say no.
Maybe that's why you had to go there. You couldn't say no anymore.
That's exactly right. And I had to be really anchored in that self-empowerment that I got from being in that Lemurian energy in Anacortes. It took 23 years before I could be released, because it's, I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news in over 20 years. I don't read newspapers. And if people start talking about what's going on in the world, I listen and long enough to know, but my energy is such. I read a book by Lynn Andrews years ago, because I was feeling really guilty that I wasn't being very proactive in the world and changing the world, right? Getting out there and doing my whole activist thing. And in one of her books, she talks to one of the shamans, and she said, look, this is your thing. Why do you want me to bring that message out to everybody? Why do you want, I'm a blonde-haired black girl from Beverly Hills, and why don't you go out and spread the word? And what they said to her was, because that's not our path. Our path is to stay here, protected. We have to have our energy protected, because we can't hold that energy if we're out there. And as soon as I read that, I thought, that's me. That's why I can't listen to the news. That's why I can't get involved in that negative, low vibrational stuff, because it just sucks. It just sucks me down. And so I've learned not to do that. And I just stay in a
Smart girl.
bubble girl.
Stay out of that energy. Yeah.
So how did
Diane, let's take a break real quick, Roger. And then when we come back, your question, okay?
Okay.
All right. Remember it.